yo, what is up? We are back. The gang is back. It's Waruna is back in town. No Borders is whole again. And we have our wonderful, beloved friend, Beto from Ninersickness podcast. What's up, gentlemen?
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me.
I'm finally back. It's good to be back, actually.
Do you want to kind of tell everybody what went on, or give them a little bit of
Yes,
or
it was kind of adventurous, to be honest, because I was back in Sri Lanka, visiting my home country for a vacation, and it's a chaos right now. It's a political plus economic crisis. So, due to a lot of reasons, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but for example, if you need for example, if you need to fill up your car with if you need petrol, you have to wait for like 5 to 7 days in a queue just to get petrol, and no cooking gas, so and so forth. Stores are running out of groceries. It's a full turmoil what's going on over there. Hopefully I hope it will get better, but survived and returned without major incidents.
glad to have you back. And glad to have
Glad that you made it back
Beto
safe,
with
bro.
us. Yeah, glad to have Beto with us. Beto is the OG 49er fan, pretty much, in the YouTube community. He's seen all 5 Niners Super Bowl wins.
Yes,
He's
sir.
been
Yes,
there,
sir.
and it's just wonderful to have you here today, sir. And with
I
that,
appreciate it, man. I'm happy to be
I'll
here.
let Waruna take over.
So
Let's go.
finally, I mean, it's good. We have some clarity. That's a major thing I took away when the training camp started. So training camp started, and we don't have to debate about who is going to be the starter anymore. So that is done. So there are still things people are just trying to like throw some things at Trey Lance, but I think that's in the past. But the major thing is training camp started. uh, Finally the muddy water is clearing up. Now we can see things clearly, what is going to happen, who are the players who are going to step up. So with that note, I would like to start, let's say, how glad you guys are with the fact that training camp finally started.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic, man. Like I mentioned, I'm ecstatic. The fact that we can talk about something that actually happened instead of talking about things that we want to happen. So I am personally myself, I'm glad that we started the training camp and we have something we can talk about.
Not just as
Uh,
fans, but as content creators. You know what I mean? Like, actually have to have something with some sustenance. And it's here. When we're on the cusp of another season here, and it seems like we got a lot of weapons, but do we have what it takes to fill out the rest of like the offense? You know what I mean? So it's a crazy time.
yes. And one major takeaway that I'm glad about the training camp started is now, if you compare with the last couple of years, this year, we have so many content creators that we know at the training camp in person. Rohan Chakravarti is there, Jason Aponte, to name a few. So many
I
content
mean,
creators.
the dream.
Yes. So many content creators, I'm sorry if I forget some names, but many content creators who we have reached and access are in person there. Not saying that it's only Grant that we have now. Yes, we still have Grant, but it's great to see people have the people reporting stories from different point of views. So it's a great thing. I'm really glad to see that. So that multiple content creators are reporting things, so we can have better consolidated content. So having said that, so let's start it with the first thing. Debo Samuel still not practicing, waiting for a contract. Is that something worrying, Beto? What do you think? Are you worried about it, or do you think that eventually it will get sorted and Debo will get in sync with Trey Lance?
Is that for me or for my friend Crypto?
I mean, you can go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think that Debo's contract is definitely coming around the corner, especially with DK now signing that 3-year extension with Seattle at 72 million. I expect Debo to kind of fall in that kind of within that bracket. I think the money is the logistics is there in the contract. I think they're just trying to figure out um the little things. You know, if he gets hurt or if this happens, if that happens, you know, and they're trying to reach that agreement. But um it is important for a young quarterback, which is his first year, even though this is his second year technically, but it's his first year as a starter, to get as much reps with his receivers. And he's missing out on them with Debo. He's getting it with Ayuk, which is great. He's getting it with Ray McLeod and Danny Gray, but he needs to build that rapport with Debo. And I am concerned that the longer the Debo it takes, especially with this young quarterback, that there might not be a rapport there. Now they are professionals; they'll pick it up. But I would hope he signs sooner rather than later. But I think this is just me, obviously guessing. But I think he doesn't. The weekend doesn't go by without him signing. I think they'll sign him before Monday for sure.
Ryan,
Yeah,
before you
go ahead.
answer, I need to ask you this. Do you think Debo dragged this way too much?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
I mean, I was asking Ryan whether he thinks that Debo dragged this way too much because we are at the training camp, he is not practicing.
Okay.
I don't think it's Debo who's dragging it. I don't think that was the thing. I think they were waiting for other people to fall, and then I think what happened was, you know, the 49ers waited too long to reach out, and they they thought they were going to get Debo for about this much, and I'm guessing they had to take another step and try and have to go more because they weren't, and I think that's what's dragging it out. And I think there it might be the guaranteed money. I think that's the thing. I think Debo's going for guaranteed money because he knows how important he is, and he knows how tough it is on his body to do what he does. So I think what they're really working on right now is the guaranteed money. And I think, they've all the what do you call it? The perks and not the perks, but like you get you get 13 touchdowns, you get this the compensation package. I think that's easy after a while. I think they're so used to doing that type of stuff that it's not that much of an issue. I think this is all they're worried about the guaranteed money, and I think that's where we're at, and that's
So
why I'm saying I think okay.
yes, so I'm coming back to Ninersickness on that point. So, do you think it's just about the money, or as reported, the usage, the way 49ers are using Debo? Because this year, I'm concerned about that. The reason is now Trey Lance is the quarterback, young quarterback, starting his first year. At the same time, offensive line, we'll talk about that later. The reports that are coming from first 2 days of the training camp is not good. The way offensive line is doing, so then you need Debo. If the game is on the line, you need Debo to carry that weight. You need Debo to be the running back, the receiver, everything he can do. So are you worried that even if we get a extension done, he would not give the same level of production as he used to be last season?
Yeah, personally, I don't think they need him to do that. I believe that what they did with Debo last year was out of necessity, because our running backs went down and we had to plug him in there. But um, I think they're going to use Debo more the way they used him in 2019 than they did in 2021. I think it is the signing bonus. I think it's the guaranteed and the signing bonus that they're working on. That they're trying to figure out the logistics of it. But I know Debo doesn't want to be a running back. He wants to be a pure receiver. And I think with the additions of TDP, Trey Sermon coming back, I think we'll be fine. The thing is right now, Aruna and Ryan, is that there's no pads right now. They're just in t-shirts. You can't really assess the running game. The linemen, they're not able to really play well because of the gear. Once the pads goes on, it's a whole different practice. And I can't wait for Friday or tomorrow for the pads to go on. And I think it's tomorrow.
Pads are
And
Monday.
Monday?
hmm
Okay. So I can't wait for Monday then for the pads to go on so that we can actually get better assessment of that offensive line. But listen, the offensive line, we didn't have Trent Williams. We didn't have Mike McClinchy. We were working out some other spots there. We moved Daniel Brunskill to center. So they'll figure it out. But yes, we need Debo, but we need him more as a receiver and less as a running back.
Yes, agreed. So I want to move out from the. So we discussed about the Debo. Since OG is here, I just wanted to discuss about the DBs. Uh, it's like huge uh, invest that 49ers did with Charveri's Sword, and there is something to show off because last year, if you remember, week 8, 49ers were practicing the basics during the middle part of the season just to get rid of that defensive pass interference penalties. But this year it seems like we have mostly JB is out, he's on physically unable to perform this, but still it seems like Kufanga is doing great today. Richard Sherman tweeted out saying you have to look out for this defense. So probably last year they were around fifth in the league. This year they might be a top three defense in the league. So how excited are you guys about this defense, defensive backs, and overall?
So I would like to take this one real quick. Um, I'm excited. I'm excited for lots of things. I'm excited that Mosley. It looks like Mosley's not going to have to creep on in the inside and start being the slot again. It looks like Womack has got it, and he's trying to learn everything he can from Mosley, which I think is great because Mosley is a very good guy in the slot. But the thing that really excited me, that I'm glad you kind of brought this up today, because I was going to fit it in one way or another, is Charvarius Ward has had such an impact on the offense already by shutting them down that today Brandon Ayuk had to do a diving catch away from Travarius Moore just to make a reception. And to me, that to me is iron sharpening iron right there. Brandon Ayuk is figuring out when he goes up against a monster, he's got to figure out he's going to have to get down in the dirt, and him and Trey are going to have to be on the same path or in the same page. And it seems like they are. It seems like, that Charvarius had been whooping them all day, and somebody had an idea like, I can get the ball in this situation, you know what I mean? Or I can get, I got to get down. Or Trey's like, look, I'm going to throw this one low, something like that. It could have been just in game. Trey was like, I need to get one on. I don't know, but whatever it was, it's good for the team. It's good for the chemistry.
I agree. I do agree with you, Ryan. You pretty much said it all. There's really not much to say on top
So
of
I
that.
like a follow-up question on that. So 2019, that's the best version of 49er defense I saw in my memory.
Are
So
you
do you
comparing
think we have
2019?
potential to get there again in 2022?
I think this secondary is better than 2019, if you ask me. Even though we did have Richard Sherman, I really think that Treverius Ward is very underrated. This guy's a great press cover corner. This guy does not allow separation from the receivers. He's a great cover corner, and he's very underrated in my opinion. And I think under D'Amico Ryans, he's going to flourish even more. Like Ryan said in practice, he's already making a statement. Him and Emmanuel Mosley are shutting everything down on the outside. Everything's in the middle. And why is everything in the middle? Because we're trying to figure out who we're going to put in the slot. But on the outside, Trey's not throwing, and when he does throw, he throws an interception. Um, and so the defense is playing very good. The front, um, I know
Or
we're
get
talking about the
out.
secondary, but Drake Jackson, I mean, the guy was a beast today. I know he's going against backup linemen, but still, that's a promise. But I like the secondary, guys. I'm really excited about the secondary. I think the secondary could be possibly better than 2019. Obviously, we had to see it play out the whole season. But the fact that we have Jason Verrett, even though he's on the POP list, we don't need to depend on him as a starter. Once we bring him in, he can be. Imagine having Emmanuel Mosley, um, Shavarius Ward, Jason Verrett, Embry Thomas, Womack. I mean, we are so much deep in the secondary. And now, if Hufanga works out, and I've been hearing some great things about Hufanga this year, last 2 days, that it's encouraging. I think this secondary can be very scary, personally.
I'd like to shout out to Moses. He says he's not sold on Womack. I'd like to hear why. All right, he's got a good opinions on things. So Moses, if you could give us a little description of why not.
I can
He
tell you
also,
because I'm really close with Moses.
oh,
Cortez, whatever, I can't pronounce his first name. Oh, you moved the thing. Can you go back to the other comment
yeah,
for
this
me
is
real
one right
quick?
here. I'm
Yeah,
not
that
sold
one.
on Womack.
Knight. Knight played with his son. Moses' son played in high school with Knight. So he has a little bit of more preference for Knight than he does for Womack. So
Okay.
there's a little favoritism there, which is
I
okay. But I think Womack will be the better corner for us, in my opinion. But yeah, I do know why.
and he brings up Ambry Thomas getting worked, and I thought of back to Grant's comment about Demo benefiting from it. It like he hasn't been tested because everybody's just going to Ambry Thomas every time they can because it's like their safety blanket so they can look good. And so you might not which they need to be moving around and getting at Demo too because he needs to learn. He needs to be challenged also. So if I was Kyle, I'd probably put my foot down and be like, look, I know you guys are worried about your stuff, but also we need to get the other defensive backs some work too.
Yep. Don't
Obviously,
be
it happened
afraid.
today. Yeah, right?
Is Everett Thomas really bad these last 2 days? Or is it that Ward and Mosley are just so damn good that they're not throwing their way and they're putting all their throws against Embry Thomas? And the thing about Embry Thomas, and Moses hit it on the dot, his footwork is something he needs to work on. And not only that, but his timing.
His
I mean,
timing.
the guy can keep up with the receivers. The guy hip to hip, but he just doesn't jump at the right time, and that's what happened against in practice, I believe today or yesterday, when Studfield threw that 50-yard touchdown to Malik Turner. He misjumped that. If he would have did it right, he would have made a play, but he missed it, and Turner made him pay for it.
What's up, Aaron?
What's up, Aaron?
Okay, so let's move on now. The defense is definitely a positive, but other than that, what are the positives? I mean, still 2 days, but what are the other positives that you have seen um, in this training camp? Especially, I think there was a mention about the coaching, the quarterback coach. I think there are a lot of praise coming out compared to what we had last year. Especially, I saw someone asked, "Can we fire Rick Angarillo again just to make sure he doesn't come back?" So that was the situation. But uh, what are the other positives that you have noticed or observed from first 2 days of the training camp?
Go ahead, Ryan.
The defense is lit. Sorry, I'm just saying, that's on a whole, that whole unit is just set. So, the thing I like is it seems like we're good at the running back room. You know what I mean? It's like we got a lot of studs. Um, I don't want to see it if Trey Sermon doesn't show up. I don't think we need to keep him around. But everybody else seems like they're a dog. Um, oh, I like the way that Trey thought about. I like the way Trey's coming along. His press conference. I guess we might bring this up a little later. I don't know if you want to do it now, but I like the way he addressed the first 2 days of practice. It seems like everybody is on the same page and is just having a blast and just getting better, and that's good. To see, actually, you know what? To see Debo in the building, that's probably my best surprise. You know what I mean? And that it's being worked on, and like we're good. It's just not happened right yet, but we're good. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna get done.
Yeah, as long as he's in the building, your chances of getting him signed are pretty good. That means that there's no animosity between them.
And if you
And
want him in the building, that means that you're gonna pay whatever you have to. So you know what I mean? So yeah.
yeah, so and just to add to what you said, Ryan, about the defense, I'm excited about this defense. If the inside corner work, we can figure out the slot corner, and if Hufanga can truly be that safety next to Ward, I think Ward's going to have Jimmy Ward is going to have a freaking Pro Bowl season this year. That secondary is going to be great. We already have arguably probably the best front seven, the best trio of linebackers. We have a plethora of the front guys going at the quarterback, pass rushers. Excuse me. I mean, you have Bosa, you have Javon Kinlaw healthy, you have Eric Armstead, and then at the other side you have a rotation of Sampson, Charlie Amenihue. You got Tamiko Ture. You got Drake Jackson. You got Kyle. What's his name? Hyder. I mean, you got all these guys that can rotate and bring that production on that side. So this front line is going to be ferocious. And if we can cover, which we will with Charvarius Ward and mostly, if you're covering back there, guess what? The quarterback has to hold on to the ball. And if the quarterback has to hold on to the ball, guess who's coming? Nick Bosa and his partners are going to be coming, and they're going to be hunting. So this defense can easily be a top 5, if not a top 3 defense, in my opinion.
Yes.
So let's switch back to the negatives part now. So basically, during last 2 days, kind of concerned about the offensive line to begin with. I'm not going to, especially, when I say negative, even from what we heard today, Trey Lance had some kind of bad practice, but I'm not worried about it. The reason is this is his first year as the starter. He's learning everything. The team is just handed over to him, and there is a bit of pressure coming from the outside and everything. So I think this is not the time to criticize Trey Lance. Should give him at least a year and a half, just to see what that kid can do. So then only we can come back and say, oh, he's not learning while on the job, he's not progressing, he's doing the same mistake. So that discussion should happen later. Now it's the time that we give some time to do what he is going to learn on the job and do whatever it is. So I'm not going to focus about the quarterback department today, but other than that, in terms of negatives, one negative that I took was Debo is not practicing. That worries me. Offensive line. So let's talk about offensive line. So, from the reports, Mike McGlinchey is still not back to his original weight. So then
Sickness and I weigh more than Mike McGlinchey right now, and that's not good for any three of us, or 4 of us. It's not good for you either, Waruna. It's
real quick. I wanted to ask Aruna.
So what do you think, Ninersickness, the offensive line? Do you see it as a negative? What are your thoughts?
No, yeah, but real quick, I wanted to ask you: do you have a fan in your office or your in your room?
I don't have.
Because
I
I don't
do.
know if it's me or if Ryan gets this too, but when you're talking, you start to break up, and it sounds like a muffle noise, like, and then it goes away, and then it comes back. Ryan, are you picking that up, or is it just me?
Oh, I don't think I don't think I am. But
Okay, because I want to answer your question, but it breaks. See what when you're talking to it breaks up for me. So I'm like, what did he say? So I don't
oh,
know. That's why I
oh,
say, Ryan, go ahead and answer it because I can't.
oh, he
Um,
was asking about the offensive line and the negatives from the first couple days, and it cut pretty much. We know it's the fulcrum of the offense. Essentially, it's the Trey's only line of success is essentially the wide receivers, the running game, which and the pass game, which is all goes through that line. What's your thoughts on that?
well, I know I did hear the Mike McClinchy question from Maruna. So let me jump on that. I think the Mike McClinchy, the weight issue. He looks like what he looked like in what was it 2020 when he was getting knocked over like a rag dog. I mean, I don't know, man, but I think personally myself, Jalen Moore, keep an eye on this guy, Jalen Moore. I think he's going to give Mike McClinchy a run for his money at right tackle, and he's been playing there, and he's been sharing the spot with Mike. So we'll see there. And then I'm loving the idea of Spencer Wolford. I mentioned, I don't know if you guys remember, I mentioned this in not particularly in this show, obviously, but in our other show that I said that Spencer Wolford would be the starting right guard. And although he's not named the guard, but the last 2 days he has started with the number ones, and they're looking like they're leaning towards him. And I like it. I like it. Now, I am not comfortable with Daniel Brunskill being under center, and it looks like more and more likely it's going to be Daniel Brunskill at center. I don't like that. And I've been hearing that Aaron Banks does not look good. He does not look good. So that's a little bit to worry about, in my opinion.
Yes. So, Ryan, I'm coming back to you with the additional question now. Last year, 49er defense, they were ranked fifth, while offense was ranked 15th. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's offensive genius, still they were ranked 15th. Now, the it seems like the defense would get better this year. Probably, let's say they would be number three defense this year. But do you think, given the things that have we have seen so far, that the offense can bridge the gap? Can they get maybe to 12th, maybe borderline top 10 offense this year? Are you worried about that? Because I'm worried about it because it's a new quarterback in the sense the first time starter, his first full year. Then you have some other problems with running backs and everything. So with that combined with offensive line, how do you take it?
So, I'd like to speak a little bit different on the offense, but we can come offensive line, but we can come back to that in a second. To answer your question, um, you they can be a top offense without having to go back into a 5-step drop. You know what I mean? And hold for a couple seconds, but it's going to take a lot of creativity because you're going to have to be doing those shot plays. You're going to have to come through on a lot of them. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to be able to necessarily turn around and get, if you if on 2nd and 7 you take a shot to the end zone and you don't get it, now it's 3rd and 7 and you've got more of a chance of not making it because it's a 7 yard pass. You know what I mean? That you need to get to the first down. Or like a 5 and then a 2-yard yak, but that's not, the farther away, it is, the more it is. So penalties also play in. So if you're getting penalties, you know what I mean, from linemen who can't, hold or holding, you know what I mean? And that just gets you even in a worse situation because now you're in a longer situation and you have to hold up longer to get the ball down the field, essentially. So it's not necessarily a good thing. But what I is and this is I'll just go into what I was going to talk about. Grant said that this is not the starting line.
No.
I think it is, minus Trent Williams. Okay, so McGlinchey is not going to start the season. Okay, I really don't think this man is going to start the season. If he does, he's probably going to get benched. You know what I mean? Because I think they're just going to say you're too light. You need to gain some weight and something, muscle, all this, whatever, before you come back out there, because they're going to be calling for your head. So you're talking about. I don't know if Brunskill's going to be the center. I think it's Brendel, and I don't think if Brendel is the starting center, Brunskill will not be the right guard, because he will be the backup center. You're not gonna injure your backup center and then have your starting center injured. Your backup center doesn't play unless your starting center goes down. So Brunskill's not if that goes through, then Brendel, or however you want to call him, he's going to be the starting center, and you're going to have Burford or somebody else in that right guard position.
Yeah.
And Banks is probably the only option for left guard at this point. Not only do you have to have this is the other thing. I think it was Crocker or Grant that brought it up. Offensive, I think it was Grant that said it. Offensive line in their first year, they're not built like them defensive guys. You know what I mean? You're not built because they've already got their NFL bodies. You know what I mean? So it seems like our offensive linemen, these news guys, might be studs, but they need their NFL bodies first to actually compete. And that's where Burford, he just might be farther along, but not ready enough yet. So who knows? Burford also had a bad day today they were talking about, but I like what Crocker had said. And I think this might be something is he had a great day yesterday. He came out, had a bad day today. What it could have been was them trying to make minor corrections for him and him having issues executing those minor corrections in his gameplay, or him thinking about it too much. You know what I mean? Sometimes you tell somebody to do something a little bit different and that's all they can think about, and they overcomplicate it too much and they take themselves out of. I thought that's what Banks was doing to himself last year. Like, he seemed like he was quick enough, but it seemed like mentally he wasn't processing it fast enough or knowing what play it was, because it was a lot for him, and that slowed him down. But we'll see. You know what I mean? I don't know anything. I can't see these guys playing, and even if I did, it's not like I can really pick everything apart. But this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I like to look at the all 22. Of course, you're not going to get that from practice, but I think Colton Mikivitz is a possibility for that position
I think
as
he's
well.
going to be the swing tackle.
Yeah, he can be the twin tackle, and then they have the other kid that was drafted too. The one that was drafted with Spencer Beerford.
Zakelj?
Zakel, yeah. So,
Zakelj.
but I think Aaron Banks will be okay at the left guard. He should be fine. And then once Trent Williams is there, it'll make it a little bit easier for a big Aaron Banks. So you got to keep in mind he's playing against these guys that have no business playing tackle right now. Once the big silverback gets back to his regular position, we'll be fine. If it is Jake Brundle, I agree. Daniel Brunskill probably is going to be the backup. Do you want him to be the right guard, possibly get hurt, and now you don't have a backup? Or are they going to cut Donovan West and hopefully he gets brought back to the practice squad where they can develop him? These are all the things that we're going to wait on. Is Jason Poe going to try to see if he can do center sometime during this training camp? There's so many pieces that are going to be moved around, Aruna and Ryan, that I think we're not really going to have an idea what this offensive line is going to look at until probably the last day or the last week of preseason.
I don't know. I think if that was going to be the case, I think we would have seen it reflected in today and yesterday. because they would already been trying to mix people up and pair people together to see who works better in tandem and whatnot to kind of to get that. And we haven't. We've seen the same lineup 2 days in
Well,
a
it's
row.
only been 2 days.
Right? No, I totally get you, but it seems like they think this is the main group minus other people getting moved around. They're minus two people maybe. You know what I mean? This is the main group minus two people, and yeah, I think that this is what they know, and that's why they're move. They might move somebody up here and there, like from the second string if they start, if they get hot. They might see what somebody's got, and see how they stack up against, the first stringers defensive line, because this is one thing the 49ers are so lucky for. If only they could try every offensive lineman out before they ever drafted or something, just get them out there in the practice, make them go up against that D line, whoever, the cream rises to the top. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
If only the lottery would give me the right numbers before I buy the ticket, right?
right. But still, you can also iron sharpens iron.
It sure
Who
does.
who are they going to go up against this year that is going to be like that? Not many people.
And
And
that's
and
good
by
for
the
Trey
time they get
Lance,
to,
bro.
oh yeah, and by the time they get there, they're going to be a lot better.
Yep, that's really good for Trey Lance to go against this defense, because he's going to face some defenses out there with the Rams, the Broncos. But when you go against this defense, and this is why I love also having Shavarius Ward and Manuel Mosley doing the thing that now Brandon Ayuk is going to be tested. Like you said, iron sharpens iron. When Debo gets back, Debo's going to be having to get in tune with Trey. So this offense is going to get better because how good our defense is. And the defense is going to make this offense better. And I like that. So just because what we've seen today and yesterday doesn't mean what we're going to see on Monday or Tuesday. Trey is definitely going to be getting better. And like you said earlier, people are stating that Trey had a bad day because he threw an interception. That's all. If that's all you look at is that interception, then you don't know football. You got to look at the whole thing. Trey had a better day today than he had yesterday, and people are going to say, "Well, he had more completions yesterday and no interception." But what he did, the bootleg, the things that he was able to do, I think he ran for 15 yards when it broke down. Those are the little things that Trey is starting to figure out. And for what I've seen, based on the videos that were posted out by the guys that they do, and once again, thank you to the Jason Apontes, the Jack Hammers, and I hate mentioning names. I'm always going to miss somebody, but everybody that's out there doing their thing and posting on Twitter, thank you so much for that. Because us faithful can watch. I seen that this team is going to only get better with time, and I'm not worried about today. I think Trey has been showing a lot of great things, and he's learning. He's getting comfortable, and I think he's going to be great. Did you guys hear real quick? Not to change the subject. Did you guys hear what Reddick from ESPN said about Trey?
No.
He said that he's picking him as a dark horse to be MVP this year.
Yes, I saw that. Yes, that's true. Yep.
MVP.
So, real quick, maybe today wasn't his best day as far as stats, but he grew
accuracy.
Today.
It wasn't his best day.
Yeah, he grew today. You know what I mean? And that's better than having going, a 9 for 11. Yeah. You know what I mean? To me, growing and learning something, and it seemed like it was shut down in the beginning.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. It's shut down. How did you get over it? How did you figure out how to get around it? And it seemed like and also it seemed like today was one of those off-schedule days where they were figuring out stuff, which we totally need. Okay, so I hope every other day the defense is just choking down the offensive line's necks, making them, tougher, making them have to learn things. But also, so the wide receivers and Trey Lance got to go play backyard football. You know what I mean? Just make it up on the fly. There's a spot, go get to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that I think is good.
Yes.
I agree.
So I want to ask Ninersickness. Just want to talk about real quick on other Trey Sermon. Seems like Ty Davis' price already surpassing him. So, do you think Trey Sermon was a wasted draft pick, or do you think he is going to make the team this year?
Well, you can't really again without the pads, specifically the linemen and running backs. It's really hard to judge a running backs when the pads are not on. Once the pads go on, we can have a better assessment of this. But for what I've seen, Trey Sermon has been doing great. He's been fantastic. He came in great physical shape. He came in solid. Um, I think Trey Sermon is going to have a great year, and I think he's going to be right there, if not about. We may have three running backs that may have over 500 yards carrying, rushing. I mean, excuse me. And TDP, Elijah Mitchell, and Trey Sermon. And then I've been hearing great things about. I'm a big fan of Jordan Mason. I've been heard the undrafted free agent running back. I've been hearing great things
Yes.
about him, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do. Um, but to your question, Aruna, I think Trey Sermon has looked great so far. He's come in shape. Now, when the pads go on, we're gonna find out if he's going to be effective or not. But it's hard for me to answer that question truthfully without the pads, if that makes sense.
Yes, totally understood. So let's move on to some other topics. So overall, now if we think about this team, what else would you like to have? I mean, so far what you have seen, like defense is great, but is there any improvement or something that you would like to see as the training camp progresses before the season starts? Are there any things that you would like to see this team improving overall?
Is that for me?
I mean,
Uh,
yes, you can go ahead, then Ryan
okay,
can.
I just didn't. Okay, um, I- personally, myself, an improvement would be another tight end. They can really support George Kittle. I mean, other than George Kittle, we don't really have nobody. What's the name's hurt? Uh, Jordan Matthews, he's not gonna. I don't even think he'll make the team. Um, I would like to bring another tight end to play along Kittle, myself, and but pretty much the whole team is solid. The only thing I can think of is center. Maybe if Jake Brundo's not working out, maybe we go after that center from Jake. I forgot his name. The free agent that is out there,
JC Treader.
Tracy
I heard
Treader.
that
Maybe
was
we'll bring him in for
I heard that was
competition.
a no go because I hear so he is the NFLPA leader. Yeah, and he's gonna he wants his bag. Okay,
Okay.
you know what I mean. He's got to get his bag because he's the guy in charge of essentially of trying to make sure everybody gets bags. And he also said, yeah, light a lot of this guaranteed money. So in other words, he's probably going to want a lot of guaranteed. I believe this was Grant Cohn that said this. It was with him and Jesse. So one of them said it. Jesse Naylor from Last Second Sports. But yeah, I think it was Grant though. But that to me seems like just JC Treader's not coming here. That makes too much sense to the Niners are stingy, when it comes to playing players essentially. And they're not going to turn around, pay Pete Debo the bag, and then turn around and give a center they're only going to have it for a couple years while they're trying to, well, they could if they, I don't know. I don't think Jed, I don't think Jed's going to throw out the bag for that. I think he's trying to nickel and dime his way, and he's I think I only need to put another nickel on there, and then we're going to be good instead of dumping the whole change wad on there and knowing it's good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not he
I'm
doesn't
sorry not
drop
to
that
interrupt you,
bag
but
like
I don't understand why people say that the Niners are stingy. I don't understand that concept. Um, our left tackle is the highest paid left tackle. Our tight end is the highest paid tight end. Our middle linebacker is the second highest paid linebacker. Our defensive end is going to be probably be the highest paid defensive end shortly. The Niners develop players. The Niners bring in players, develop, and if you can produce a production from the development that you got from this team, the Niners will reward you. Debo's going to get rewarded. So I I
I'm
don't think the
I'm
Niners are
talking about
stingy. They're just not stupid.
I'm just talking about cash over cap. You can manipulate cash over cap in certain ways. Eddie DeBartolo, if he was running this right now, he'd be using cash over cap to get ahead of people right now.
Now,
I'm just saying.
to defend that, Eddie DeBarlo did not run this team with a salary cap. He did all
No,
this
no,
without the
I,
salary cap.
I
I don't think
understand
he.
that.
So and now keep in mind too, like the Rams. Everybody wants to say, look at the Rams. They're bringing in players. How are they getting money? When they're like against, but they're kicking everything down the road. They're kicking the can down the road. You know that the Reaper's going to collect in a few years. It's going to be a time. So you don't want to be keep kicking the can down the road to bring in players. If you can develop them and draft them, so that you don't have to pay them that much. Like for example,
Right, but
Emmanuel
if
Mosley,
if
he's going
things
to
don't
step up.
all if things don't all work at the same time, then it doesn't matter if you're building people. If you're building half a team of good players at the same time, and what you really need is a center to push you over the edge, and you're not willing to see, the Rams are doing it with every player. Okay, the Rams are doing cash over cap with every player. They're splashing the pot. This is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna, this is how we're gonna make our run now, and then we're gonna suck later. Okay, that's what they're doing. Okay, you can do it with one person, cash over cap,
You
and get
can.
it down the road. Yeah. And then it's not so bad. And then what you could do then, especially if you're not using draft capital to get this person, originally, then you're talking about you use that draft capital to make sure you got the replacement. And right now, obviously, we've already got centers in that situation. I'm just saying we don't have uh an owner that wants to put all that money down, because to do the cash over cap, you have to put the money all down in the beginning. Okay. And he's got his money tied up in all these other sports teams he's trying to buy. And he's worried about the brand of the sports teams that he owns, instead of just going, hey, we got a winner on our hands. Let me make sure I've got this six. Let's make sure I get the sixth one. You think that, being the owner, of the 49ers after Eddie DeBartolo and after your parents messed it up, that you would want to get that sixth one under your belt and then be worrying about the seventh and eighth. You know what I mean? That should be your destiny, because you got to get out of the shadow of Eddie DeBartolo, who brought five. You know what I mean? That's how I think about things. I got to come in here and I got to do better than Eddie D. You know what I mean? And to do something like maybe going cash over cap on JC Treader for something like this might be the smartest decision, because if you can get JC Treader in the room and you got three or four guys that can play center, and they're all sitting in there, you got one of them that's going to succeed, maybe two. I'm telling you, with the guys that are in the room right now, I'm telling you, some of these guys are studs, and they're smart. And that's what you want. You want guys that are studs and that are smart is center position. So I'm telling you, that would be a move. You know, it's it's not
Do you know how
that you have,
many games JC Treader has missed in his career
huh?
due to injury?
No.
I forgot. I wrote it down. The guy misses a lot. I understand where you're coming from. You do want to put money into a product that you need, but I don't know if they give him all that money that he wants. And if he gets hurt, we're going to be in the same predicament that we are. And
Okay.
I don't really know if Jake Bruno is a bad center. He might be
I
a good center, and the Niners know this, and they're like, you know what we're paying. They might see JZ Treader not that much of an upgrade over Jake, and if that's not that much of an upgrade, why pay him all that money when you have Jake and then you have Daniel Brunskill as the backup? But I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying. If they were going to put the money in, I would do it in personally myself. I would do it in a safety they can come in, play alongside like what's his name, Matthew, the
Tyron Matthew.
Badger.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, when he was
that would have been.
available, I would have loved to bring him in. That's
It would have been
someone that I
so
would
worth
put
it.
money into.
It would have been so worth it to eat that 7 mil from Jimmy and get Tyrone Matthew out of it. You know what I mean?
Now you're
Well,
talking. Now you're talking. Now it's
but
worth it because it'll pay off.
but I still think the offensive line is where it needs to be. Right now, looking at it, the offensive line was where they really need to secure a spot. They needed to either get a center or a guard this year. Maybe even like they should have probably and I'm not talking about in the draft. I'm talking about they should have got a free agent. You know what I'm saying?
Now keep in mind too
And
that
I,
a lot of teams are going to cut centers to make that 53 roster because they may pick up a center there.
yeah, I'm on Ninersickness with this one because think about this, right? Now, he made a great point about how many games he missed. Now, this is something 49ers have learned. D Ford, remember D Ford? He didn't give the production that we expected out of him. Now, when there were names thrown out even last year, Stephen Gilmore, 49ers didn't pursue. Julio Jones, multiple times. The fans were like, get Julio Jones, even. But every time 49ers saw some player who is out there, they were really skeptical. They played it cautiously because they didn't want to commit to the same mistakes that they did over and over again.
With
So
D4.
they
Yep.
are like, okay, yes, we can spend some money, get this guy, but what if he gets injured? So we don't want to do that because last year we had a really good year in terms of health. The players were fairly okay compared to 2020, the disastrous season.
Yes.
2021
I,
was
I
really.
don't even remember that year.
Yes, so that's what 49ers are doing. They are not going to commit to these players, even though they have this very good highlight package reel. They are not going to commit it to that. They are not going to get uh, sucked into that because they know what really needed is the players that who can play out through the season, the bench depth and everything. So that's why I think 49ers are doing the right thing. Yes, it might not look fancy, but that's the safest option. I don't think there are too many players out there as well. So yes, there might be some difficulties, and kind of surprises me as well because the reason is now Kyle Shanahan being offensive genius, what we call him, and he's the head coach. But usually, we invest more on defensive players. We strengthen the defense every year, but it seems like we are not bringing up pieces to the offensive side of the football. But I think they have some pieces to do that. What they are doing with the creativity, so probably it's okay not to pursue all these players that we see out in the free agency market. So that's why I agree with Nine Sickness on that. So you have to consider what's the actual value they will bring eventually.
Yeah. I mean, all players get hurt sometime in their careers because it's a physical game, but you got to look at the trend of players. How often do these players get hurt? A valuable lesson, like Arluna said, D Ford, they gave him they gave him the bag. They made that splash to bring him in. And for 2019, it definitely looked like we made the right choice. But then 2020 didn't play much.
I'm talking details about their delivery.
And now they cut him a day
Sorry.
yesterday. They cut him, right?
Yes,
And
he retired.
I
Yes.
was like, oh my goodness, we have a guest. I'm gonna shut up. It's Trey Lance in here. But you know what I mean? So the Niners, and just to defend, I'm not truly big fan of Jed York, but the fact that he hired Kyle Shanahan and Lynch, listen, you talked about pursuing Super Bowls and going after his uncle. To be honest with you, Eddie DeBarlo, as much as I love Eddie DeBarlo, great owner, best owner ever, there was no salary cap. He had two Hall of Fame quarterbacks together. You're never going to see that again. He had Joe Montana and Steve Young for years on the roster. Two Hall of Famers. You're not in the era of salary cap. You will never see two quarterbacks that are Hall of Famers like we did with Joe Montana and Steve Young. So Eddie was able to do what he needed to do because he didn't have to work with the confine of the salary cap. Now you can manipulate the salary cap, but my thing is if you're gonna hurt yourself in the future, that's one thing I love about John Lynch. They don't want to put themselves in a predicament in the future that they can't get out of because they want to do something today. They want to bring the right players, but they don't want to mortgage. That's the word. They don't want to mortgage the future on and kicking the money down because they already did it with Eric Armstead. But Eric Armstead is a player that is going to be in this team for a long time. You don't want to do it with, like, for example, a lot of people were saying they should redo the contract of Jimmy, kick the money down, and bring his contract. You didn't want Jimmy here longer. You know what I mean? So the fact that they didn't do that, that's good. So I hear what you're saying, Orion. You want to bring in a center. Now, if this center, JB Treader was more, if he
Oh,
wasn't, if
I'm
he didn't
not
get it hurt
saying
as much,
Treader. I'm not saying that. Hey, they should bring in Treader. I'm saying Jed York doesn't have the balls to do that with a player. He just wants to stay within the guidelines, so he doesn't have to pay any extra money or
but he
put it
did
up
it with D
front.
Ford.
He did not put the money up front.
So just to close out this topic, and I would say this: think about Jed York in this situation, right? Initially, he had a good situation with Jim Harbaugh. Then he ruined it, right? Then he learned from his mistakes. How
Yes.
old was he when that happened? He
He was
was
like 20, early
30s,
20s. Yes.
28. So now he's 40. Now he has learned from his mistakes. And I mean, we all can agree 49ers have built a culture, a football culture
Yes.
that is
Yes.
sustainable. I
Okay.
mean, imagine our half of our coaching staff, they went away last year. I mean, year before that we had Robert Sala. He went away for a new job, but still the defense is keeping up. We are doing good things now. Everyone can agree. Whatever it is happening, the arguments, Trey Lance, Jimmy G, we know this is a good football team. This is not just a good football team. This is a great football team. There is a good culture. We don't do some this stupid shit like what Cardinals did with Kyler Murray's contract.
There
We,
you go. Preach
right?
it, brother. Preach it.
Everything has been built over the years. He has learned from his mistakes. So I think sometimes they might not do everything that we want them to do, that we like, but I think overall it's a very good setup that they have put in place. So I
What
hope.
was the last time you heard? What's the last time you heard Jed York talk to the media? He's definitely given the reins to Kyle and John, and he's kind of in the back. He's just paying them, and they stay in the background. He's not the Jerry
That's not
Jones.
necessarily so. Just because you don't see him out on you only see him in the State of the Unions and waving from the skybox doesn't mean he's not running things.
No, no, when
Uh,
you run anything, but if Kyle wanted to keep Jimmy, they would have kept it.
no,
If
I'm
Kyle
not
wanted,
saying, I'm not arguing there. I'm just saying it's not like he's got it on necessarily on autopilot because you don't see him out there a lot.
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
just
no. Of course, you're running things in the background, but
John,
with the
then
John
you are-
Harbaugh, he was always in with the media. Remember?
Mhm.
yes. So let's move on to the next topic. The final topic, Ryan, you wanted to bring this up. The press conference, the Trey Lance, the way he handled it. So it's all yours. Bring it up.
Oh, yeah, I like the way he started this out. He was asked what he thought about his first 2 days of practice, and I'll play this and see what you guys think.
The first couple days of camp gone for you, when you yesterday when you looked at the film, what do you see, and today what do you expect to see?
Yeah, they've been awesome. We definitely had a better day today, I thought. More reps, more volume. Guys, I thought were ready to go, flying around. Defense was fast. Receivers were fast. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun these last couple of days. Yesterday, I thought we had a good day. Today, we turned the ball over too much. But yeah, I thought it was a good day overall.
So he's talking about we turned the ball over too much, but we had a lot of volume. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Which is hey, he says he thought he had a great day, and he didn't statistically, but in his head, he learned a lot. And so I think that's one thing I don't think a lot of people are going to really give him credit for.
On the journey, not the destination, which
Yes.
is
Right.
a really good thing.
And if you're gonna make mistakes, make them in practice,
practice.
not during the game.
Yes.
Right.
And he's confident. I mean, compare it with the press conferences that he had last year at the beginning of the this year, but now he's fully confident. So yes. So
The
right.
players are buying in.
And
They're starting to believe his leadership. They're backing him up. They're supporting him. And the whole fact, I love that Kyle named him QB1 right off the bat, because if we would have went into training camp without him naming him, can you imagine the drama? Jimmy's still here. Are they keeping Jimmy because they don't believe in Trey? Could it be that they might have made a mistake with Trey? The fact that he named Trey QB1 and said that the only reason why Jimmy is still here is because he had surgery that delayed the trade. He would have been traded. Kyle said it himself. He would have been traded. The only reason why he's not still here is because of the surgery. He doesn't blame Jimmy, but it is what it is. And they even asked Kyle, "Do you see Jimmy being here week one?" He goes, "There's no absolutes," and I'm not quoting him exactly, but to the fact that there's no absolutes in the future, but he does not foresee Jimmy being with us week one. So
yeah, he says he sees the scenario. He just doesn't see the plausibility of that scenario being high.
Exactly. So he is completely sold on Trey, and that's great because now the players can buy in and start believing in Trey. Imagine if he didn't do that, the player would have been like, "Is it going to be Jimmy? Is it going to be Trey?" And I'm so glad that Kyle did what he did. I feel bad for Jimmy because I feel like he's that child that was just cut away from the family and says you can never come back, leave. But it is what it is. It's a football. It's a cutthroat football, man. It's what can you do for me today, not yesterday. And they're moving on to Trey. So I'm glad that they named Trey the starting quarterback, and he looked confident in that video that you shared, Ryan. And I appreciate you sharing it.
I got more too.
Oh, so bring it on, bro. I talk too much, and I'm tired.
So one thing I liked about the press conference is they kept on trying to bring up the QB1 thing, and he was like, "It wasn't anything different in my life, fellas. It's only different to you." And then they kept on trying to word it different ways, and he kept on just shutting them down. But there was one interesting part. Someone asked him about, "Did your spiral get tighter?" And this is what he had to say.
Talking details about their delivery, but is your delivery a little tighter, you think, this season?
I'll let you guys decide.
Did you work on that?
I threw a lot of footballs this offseason. I'll say that.
I love it.
So, he asked him there, I don't know if you heard it. He says, "Did you work on it?" And he said, "I threw a lot of footballs this offseason. I'll leave it at that." So, yes, we've seen that it got tighter. I wasn't really that worried about it. I really wasn't that worried about it. I knew at some point he was going to get that looking better. He did it a lot quicker to shut everybody up. There was one last one. Trey kind of gave Coach Kyle some smoke, but you also hear of how they're going in the scrimmages and what Kyle is, how he's training them or giving them insight on the fly.
Talking to you after some throws or some decisions, how much back and forth is there? Is he coaching you pretty hard?
On the field, it's hard because, we try to keep the tempo of practice going, so we don't talk a whole lot, but maybe a quick comment. I'm asking him what he thought about it, or if he saw something did something different. If you see him behind, he goes through the play with us, so he's always pointing to where he would have gone with the ball, even if he couldn't have made the throw. But it's fun, and it helps me out a lot, him standing right behind always, and he sees every single play and knows where he would have gone with the ball, but most of it will go down in the meeting room this afternoon.
Even if he couldn't make the throw. Love it.
I like it. But Trey obviously doesn't remember the pizza oven.
Yes.
The pizza
What
oven.
up, Timo?
Oh, yeah, when he was in that roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brian, I believe that's our show. So, I mean, I believe we had a very good discussion. Thanks to Ninersickness. So you can wrap it up.
Okay, well, Waruna, thanks for coming on also, and Betho. Everybody, if you don't know Betho, he is the man of Ninersickness podcast. His links are in the description. Go check him out. He says he'd wipe his feet, but it's so hot it wouldn't help. Oh man. Yeah, it's
I
a
wipe my feet, but it's so hot it wouldn't. Steve-O. Love
right.
it.
Steve-O coming in. You missed a great show, Steve-O. We've been partying this whole time, talking some good.
But there's always the replay. So
check us on the replay. But yeah, want to thank you for coming on, Beto. Always a pleasure.
I had fun, man. I woke up and now I'm ready. Yeah, it was fun, guys. I love talking to you guys, man. I missed you, Aruna. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're safe with your family and in your home, and you're with us now. And I look forward to being invited back in the near future. And then I want to invite you guys onto my channel and continue to chop it up during the training camp and during the season.
Love to have it.
Thank you. Love to
All
have
right,
you.
guys. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
And with that, everybody, have a wonderful evening. Peace out.